Sarah, what led you to become an artist?
I wasn't supposed to be an artist. I was supposed to be a concert cellist. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I was. I grew up in a musical family and a serious musical family, and we had like family trio parties where friends would come and we'd sit in matching outfits, and I played the cello, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But I went to a very artistic school where everything was drawn, everything was made. It was the Rudolph Steiner School, which is part of the Waldorf education, and so I learned how to draw. I mean, I was just immersed in drawing and painting and being creative from a very young age. And so I didn't really think about doing anything else. I mean, I just immediately loved it. I immediately felt at home with art. I was one of those people that, you know, I was talking to Don about math a minute ago, and, you know, I wouldn't do math in class. I'd doodle, and, you know, everyone else was finishing their problems, and I wouldn't be doing math. I'd be just doing drawings, and, I don't know, I just knew that that's what I wanted to be when I got older. It just was part of my DNA, I guess.
So you were out of college when you realized that you would be an artist?
Oh no, I went to an art high school. Yeah, I knew I wanted to be an artist. Went to an art high school. I grew up in New York City, and there were the resources there. Right, like took classes at the Art Student League and the 92nd Street Y, and I took a lot of pottery classes, and I knew I wanted to be an artist way before I went to college. And so I majored in art in high school. Then I applied to RISD, where I really wanted to go, but it was way over my price range. But I got a full scholarship there, so I was able to go to RISD, and I wanted to be a children's book illustrator. And so I started my first semester in children's book illustration, and I think I cried every day. I hated it. I hated the professors. I hated the work. And it was recommended that I go into graphic design. So that's where I went, and I did graphic design and art direction for about 30 years. That was my career up until about 10 years ago. No, less than that, 5 years ago. And what ended that, I mean, I had started painting about 10 years ago because I always really wanted to just be a painter, but I was so afraid that, you know, I won't make a living at it. And, you know, it's difficult. We all know it's really difficult to make money doing what we love to do. So I had kids, I had to go to college, I was a single mom for a while. So being an art director was my job. But I always said, I'm going to paint, I'm going to paint, I'm going to paint. And about 15 years ago, I started doing it on a regular basis. And then I was in a car accident about 5 years ago where my job disappeared, and I couldn't go back. I still can't work full time at what I used to do. And it's kind of a blessing, and now I'm a full-time painter. That's how I looked into it.
Did you have a teacher or a mentor that encouraged you or influenced you?
I had quite a few at RISD. Yeah, there were quite a few. But because I was a graphic design major, I had boyfriends that were painters, and I loved, you know, what they did, and they looked like they had a lot of fun, and my department was extremely intense, very stressful. I slept probably 4 hours a night and lived on no-dose caffeine and rice crackers. I mean, that was my experience at RISD.
So, did you find that was restricted, graphic arts?
Yeah. But it also was very comfortable for me. I mean, if you guys know my work, there's a lot of graphic elements to it. There's a lot of shapes, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of, you know, I tend to go towards the graphic part of it. And so, I don't know, it just seems very natural to me too. So, but as far as the expression of it and being able to just have a voice, it was extremely restrictive. I mean, you had to always do what somebody wanted you to do. You know, there was a problem to solve or there was a project. And so it wasn't as fulfilling, is what I wanted.
So how did you arrive where you are now with the mediums that you use? How did you choose this?
Well, I cannot do watercolor, and I cannot do oils. I hate oils. And I thought, okay, what can I do? But more than that, I use acrylic, and I use paper, and a lot of my paper has a lot the graphic elements that I was talking about. There's a lot of imagery, there's a lot of texture, there's a lot of patterns, there's a lot of abstraction.
It's quite detailed.
Yeah,
There's
so
a lot of detail in
the paper really kind of drives the medium for me. And so acrylic seems to be the best thing to work with that. I use a lot of inks too, transparent inks and opaque inks that are work with paper.
So tell us about your studio setup, what that's like.
Okay. This is a touchy subject at the moment because as of up until about 4 months ago, I had the dream studio space. I had a 35 by 15 space, beautiful lights, skylights, tons of counter space, and I mean, I could just spread out, and it was a dream come true. Well, I had to walk away from that because of personal things. I'm going through divorce right now, and I had to move, and I am now in a 9 by 9 foot room, so it's a big adjustment.
It's a challenge. Yeah.
It's a big challenge, but you know, I'm making it work. I just set it all up recently, so it's all a big transition that I'm going through at the moment. I mean, I had a moment last week where I was just like, I missed my studio, and I was so upset that I had to downgrade to this size. But you know what? People have worked under worse situations. I'm lucky I have a room. I'm lucky I have the time. I'm lucky I have the space to do what I want to do. And if you really want to work, you just work, regardless of what your studio looks like, where it is.
So where do you find inspiration? What drives you?
I still go to the graphic end of it. I have hundreds of interior design magazines, fashion magazines, also, of course, the art magazines, but it's the interior design magazines and fashion magazines that I go to for my inspiration, because I look at the textiles, I look at the colors, I look at the patterns. For the interior design, I mean, I look at the rugs and the fabrics, but I'm also looking at the art on the walls in these places, and I very often find inspiration from seeing the art in these magazines. But a lot of it is the fabrics. I was a fabric designer for a little while, and I may be going back into that in the near future. So I definitely love patterns and colors and that graphic element.
That's very obvious from your work. So how has your style changed over the years? Besides being restricted, now you have more freedom.
I do have more freedom, and it's moved a little more out of strictly like paper graphic collage into a more painterly aspect. If you look at my earlier work, it's mostly all paper collage with a little bit of paint with it, but it was all very abstract paint, where now I'm doing more of the figurative kind of, I mean, I have a thing about birds, nature. A lot of my influences comes from natural history museums. I lived in the Natural History Museum in New York City. I love the one up in Boston and Harvard. I read about the naturalists from the 1800s, etchings. That's sort of my influence and my, where I get a lot of my inspiration as well. So I walk in the woods. I hike about 3 to 5 miles every day, and so I'm very much attached to nature. And so I paint nature now, as opposed to just looking for pictures or taking photos and making the collages of those images. I combine the two now, so that's how it's changed.
And how do you promote your work?
I I have an Instagram account, I have a Facebook, which I never use because I hate Facebook, but I also have a website, and that's about it, word of mouth, and I'm starting to really submit to pretty much everything I can think of, and every, entry or this, like museums, galleries, whatever. I'm trying to put my work out there. So I was very lazy about it for a while because I really didn't have to do it. I just mostly painted for my own pleasure, but now I really need to, and I want to sort of share it with the world. So I'm focusing a little more on that.
What is your website?
It's SaraLadds.com.
And your Instagram name?
I think it's Sara Ladds. Oh no, is it? It is. Okay. So yeah, you can see the layers of how I work. They're a lot of the imagery that I use, there's always a connection between the graphic part and the actual recognizable images, like the bugs, the birds, the trees. There's a story and there's an interaction between everything that's part of the painting.
That's lovely. How do you get out of a rut, creative rut? What do you do to re-energize?
Depends on the rut. If I'm really frustrated and just like feeling like, I go for a walk. I just go for a hike. I just breathe, and being in the woods usually just sort of calms me down and connects me to, being more in a Zen sort of state. If I'm stuck in a creative way where it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what my next painting's going to be, I tend to know what I'm going to work on before I work on it. I have like 10 ideas going at the same time all the time. So it's not like I finish a painting and then it's like, okay, now what do I do? I already have like a backup of ideas or sketches or things that I want to do. So I just, jump. And very often I work on like 4 or 5 pieces at the same time. So, but I go back to my magazines. I do. I mean, if I'm really stuck, I go back to my magazines and just look. Color is like the first thing that I think about. It's kind of weird, but color it's like, oh, I want to work in green, and then okay, green. What can I work about with green? And I get a lot of that inspiration from the magazines.
Do you work every day?
Oh, I wish I did. Don't we all wish we worked every day?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so no, life happens. I have a mother with early onset Alzheimer's who takes a lot of my time. So it just, yeah, I try to set a time, instead of like saying, okay, I'm gonna work every day this week, because that just never happens. I try to work a little bit every day, if not every day. I mean, there are days, like I worked all day yesterday, and that was great. This morning, I could only work for about 3 hours, but I did work today. Tomorrow, I'm not going to. I have to go to the DMV.
Come back and walk the street.
Right, yeah.
Secretly take pictures. So if you could give advice to a young artist or a beginning artist or even an experienced artist, what would you say?
Don't overthink it. Don't listen to the voices that say I'm not good enough, I shouldn't. There's so many people that do this better than I do. Don't listen to your insecurities. I mean, we all have them. We all feel insecure. And one of the most mind-blowing experiences that I had was when I watched 20th Century Artists, I think. It was a series on PBS. It came out in like the late 90s, and it was about famous artists that are in the Guggenheim and the Met and the Museum of Modern Art. And they were talking about their own personal experiences and their struggles, and I was like, oh my God, they're human. They think just the way I think. They're terrified. They think they make a million mistakes, that they're not good enough. And I was just like, wow, I'm not that different. I could do this. you know? So if you get stuck in feeling like you're just not good enough, just forget that and just do it anyway, and just go with what your passion is telling you. I mean, there's a reason why you want to be an artist, so just listen to that and trust in that, and you'll do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, let's have some questions. We'll have some answers.
Do you still play the cello?
No. I play the piano.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but no.
You still own a cello?
I gave it to my son, who is a musician, so he plays it. No, I don't play it. Go ahead.
Do you feel that every piece that you make has to be better than the next one? Like every time I feel like I create a mandala, that it's got to be better. I got to do something different, like more. And I don't know how to quell that.
Well, I think my answer to that would be no, because I used to feel that way. Because you just want to have progress, and progress means you're getting better and you're doing more. But the more you do it, at least for me, I found that was an impossible expectation, and that life comes and goes, it ebbs, it flows, and you have good days, you have bad days, and that includes your art. There's good art and there's not so great. And there's a lot of pieces that I did a while ago that I thought were great, and I look at them now and I was like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But I'm going back to them, and revisiting them and reworking them so that they sort of move the way I'm moving in a different direction. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have, we all have bad stuff that we've done. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're going backwards and you're never gonna go forwards again. It's an up and down thing. Carol.
Yeah, I just wondered if you like to work in series, or if you find yourself just doing whatever hits you. Just still water on my list.
No, I do series. Yeah, I do. I do a series. Like, I had an owl series. I mean,
Well, does that help you, plan your next
yeah.
piece because you're working on a certain theme or something like that?
Yeah, it does.
Or is that too restrictive?
No, I think I do think about working, let me think how to answer this. Like, for instance, I'm working on a new series of paintings right now that have to do with self-portraits and that are sort of touching a little bit, and I'm still working this through with the demons that a lot of mentally challenged people, and I'm talking about like schizophrenics and bipolar people, and because my son's schizophrenic, and so I'm doing a self-portrait of him, and it's sort of, and I'm working on that one, but it's sort of branching into, okay, well, I could do this too, and I could do that, and I could, so it sort of seems like when I start thinking about something, it just naturally becomes a series of ideas, and then those become paintings. And then I'll exhaust that. Like, I don't want to do another owl for a very long time because my owls became commissions and more commissions, and I was just like, okay, if I do another snowy owl, I'm going to shoot myself. But, so yeah, I do work in series, I guess, without meaning to. It just happens.
Everyone remembers that she won the annual contest last year with a beautiful owl. Snowy owl. Snowy owl.
That's a good reminder for the contest that's coming up this year. If you're going to put something in, make sure you enjoy doing it, because you're probably going to ask to get
Two more.
Yeah.
More? Come on.
You work with other artists, get together with them and talk things out, or are you solitary?
No, no, I'm not solitary, because I think, first of all, I don't work anymore, so I'm in my studio. I now live alone. There's just so much I can say to my dog. So Working in a vacuum, I think, can be detrimental. So yes, I do work and collaborate. Well, I wouldn't say I collaborate, but I am part of the Art Cafe has every Wednesday, if anyone's interested, we have a little group that gets together Wednesday mornings between 10 and 1. And it's not really a formal class, they sort of call it a class, but it's run by Josie Arkins and Claire Bowen, and they're both members of this group. And sometimes there's 4 people, sometimes there's 10, and you just can drop in, and most of the time, Marjorie's there sometimes, you just bring your stuff in and you put it up and you get feedback. And it's like, oh, I don't know if the blue looks right there, what do you think? And then you'll get everybody to sort of contribute. Sometimes it's just a gab fest. We don't even work. We just sit there and talk about stuff. It's a lot of fun. We, bring food, and it's a highlight of my week. It really is, because it's such a great group. And being around other artists and talking about my art and their art, and we talk about, shows that are going on. We've actually gone to Boston together to, see some exhibits. So it's a great group, and I think it really has a huge impact on how I work. If I just worked alone, I don't know, it would be different. So.
Can you give some examples of how working in a vacuum might be detrimental, or have been detrimental?
For me?
Well, you said it, so I'm wondering.
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but for me, if I'm too much into my own head, it's not always a good thing.
For your art?
For my art, yeah, because I will second guess things, or I will sort of self-sabotage my intents or my intention or what my goals are for a particular piece, and sometimes I just need to be reminded that I'm on the right path, or that, what I'm doing is what the piece needs to happen, what needs to happen in the
So
piece.
pieces don't get finished, is what you're saying?
No, they could.
You don't like when it's finished?
I get frustrated, and I'm not happy with what's happening. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Me?
Sure.
So is that group at the Art Cafe open to anybody who wants to come?
Yeah.
Other people from this group? want to
Anybody,
come?
yeah, anybody can drop in.
And you just bring your work, so it's a critique group?
Yeah, you can.
Or is it a drawing group? It wasn't clear whether you're actually making art or just
No, we
looking at
do.
art that's in progress.
No, we do. We work while we're there. Yeah, we do work. But Marjorie will drop by and bring her things, and
I'd like to comment
we.
on that,
Okay.
because I work in quite big pieces, so it's hard for me to actually work there. But I get wonderful critiques. I've had critiques where I've actually gone to classes that do critiques. I think that Josie and Claire are fantastic as far as critiquing. As a matter of fact, and the rest of the people in the room, too, everybody comments. And it's really great. It's a wonderful experience. So if you want to bounce a piece off or something, you should drop in. They welcome everybody, so
Yeah,
it's not,
they do.
not a closed group by any chance.
Yeah, and not everybody in the group is, a professional artist, there are people there. There's a woman there we don't know her age, but I'm guessing 85, and she just started doing pastels last year, and she just loves doing them, and she comes and she does them, and she's one of our favorite people there.
Yeah, where is it?
It's, it's in Little Compton. The Art Cafe is, there's a little coffee shop, and then there's a gallery next to the coffee shop. And it's right across the road from the post office,
Just south of the Commons.
just south of the Commons.
Wednesday mornings?
Wednesday mornings, 10 to 1. And if you do partake, it's $20 if you stay there and do the artwork per person. So there is a fee.
Montez, do you do any journaling on to reflect more on your themes or to develop your work?
Oh yeah, Oh, yeah. I mean, from probably age 15, I've had a sketchbook, and when I teach, that's the first thing on the, supply list, sketchbook, because, you could be grocery shopping, and like for me, and I'll see something, a label that just like sparks an idea, and so I always have my sketchbook with me, and yes, I do, and I jot down ideas, and I think it's important because your mind doesn't stop being creative just because you're not in front of whatever you're working on. I get some of my best ideas in the shower, and
Exactly.
I have a question. Do you ever work large or mostly small?
The pieces that I was talking about the self-portraits for my son, they're pretty big. They're about that size right now. So it's brand new. Yep.
Wow.
Which is challenging in a 9x9 room, but I'm making it work. I have a big dining room table, so it's kind of moving into that. Yeah, so that's very new for me. I mean, the biggest that I've ever worked was probably about this big. So yeah, I'm excited. It's been a lot of fun.
I have a multi-part question. How long have you done the tour, and what do you like about the tour, and where will you be showing your work this year?
First question. I was on the tour a while ago for 1 year. I was art director at Brown at the time, and I had just started painting again. And I had enough where I wanted to be a part of the tour. And I had just married the man I'm now divorcing, but he had a house in Little Compton, so I was part of the tour that year. But then I stopped for a while because the job was just way too demanding and I couldn't paint for a long time. So I was on the tour, this will be my 3rd year on the tours consecutively, 4th year altogether. What was the other?
What do you like about it?
Oh, I love everything about it. I love the people. I love the organization. I'm so impressed at how well organized it is, and the people that put in all the time and the effort, and it takes so much to do this, and I'm so appreciative of being a part of that. Just being, talking about the vacuum, it's like just being a part of a creative group and knowing my fellow artists from the community. It is. It's huge.
Do you have
And
any?
I love the people on the tour. I have a blast with the people coming in and talking about my art, and the people that come into the studios. I mean, I think I had 2 people once that walked in and walked out. Otherwise, people are looking, they want to talk to you about your art. They're really coming to talk about, your work and get to know you as an artist. And they're just the nicest people, I feel like there's family because they come back now. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's the kid?
So where are you going to be this year?
Well, I'm going to be in Westport now. Part of the deal with this house and the 9-foot studio is that there is also an outbuilding I'm in Adamsville, and there's the Adamsville Pond, and there's an outbuilding right on the parking lot at the pond, and that's going to be my gallery. So I will now have a gallery
That's
that I'm going to
cool.
open on weekends and be there full time.
The one right next to the pond?
Yeah, it's a little building.
I know it.
Yeah, it's a little building. And it's great because the parking lot's right there.
Yes.
And, I'm psyched to be part of, Kitty's little community. I wish you were here tonight. And, so that's where I'll be.
Do you have any advice for new people on the tour, or any tour tips that you want to share?
Don't be nervous. Don't feel like this is, I don't know. It's an easy thing to do. It really is. You're part of a wonderful group. You have support if you have questions, or if you're anxious or have anxiety about, I don't know what to show, I don't know how much to price this. Reach out. We're here to help you. I mean, I remember my first tour, I was like, I have no idea what to charge. And it was debilitating almost. It's like, I have no idea. I don't know. And
That's the frightening part.
yeah.
The first
is it
tour
worth
is like-
this? Is
Yeah.
everybody gonna buy it? You know, so you just reach out because, you know, we've all been there and we've asked for help before, and you know, you need to call me. I'm happy to help you figure that stuff out. But it's fun. Just remember, I think it's fun. I have a blast. So.